Howdy, howdy, howdy to all my friends out there. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Before we go any further, SKD 143, I love my wife, I love my kids, I love all the reality fans, everyone out there, but especially the reality TV fans. I hope y'all are doing fantastic this evening. Welcome to another episode of Cliff Notes Live. It makes my Monday nights kind of fun. You know, Mondays aren't always the most exciting day. But I kind of look forward to this evening. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming on board. For those of you who are watching live, howdy. For those of you who are watching on a repeat, welcome to y'all as well. Now, here's the thing. I don't talk about this every episode, but if y'all get a chance and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's always kind of cool to see those things tick up. And just so you get notifications, no one gets forgotten or anything else. So there goes my little ad for my channel. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Who all is out here? I got to slow down my talking. I'm kind of excited tonight, so I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. Amanda Lowe is out here. Gerardo, how are you doing, sir? I don't recognize your name as much as some of the others. Brian Hostetter, Anna Young. Hey, Anna. Anthony Stike, Kaylin Donnelly, Tim C. Hey, Tim. Travel the World. I love that username. Ma's out here. Howdy, Ma. Keith Franken. Jake Patton. Hey, Jake. Caleb, David. Oh, yeah. Train operator Carl. Well, howdy, train operator Carl. I'm an engineer too, just a different kind of engineer. Marilyn Sutherland as well. Howdy, Marilyn. How are you? Let's see. So anyway, and a few more of y'all out there. I'm Joyce Grinstead as well. Nathan. So many of y'all out here. I hope y'all are doing fantastic this evening and not going bananas. Established 1988. All right, there's got to be a story behind that little user ID. We'll talk about some other time. Parker Odell, Paula Scar, Sarah Snow, Mark Taylor, Jacqueline Van Winkle. Say hi to your brother Rip if you get a chance. And Bellin. All right. Enough, guys. I'm sure we'll have some others come in. As we wait for a few other people to come straggling into the show, let me throw out on this day in history. And, you know, sometimes I throw out huge monumental things that happened. We did have 9/11 on 9/11 commemorations, remembrances on Saturday. And it's tough being solemn and yet also, you got to move on with life. And so took a moment out for that. And then I had college football, which was fantastic. So sometimes we have big days to remember. Some days not quite as much. And today is one of those days. A huge day in history for some people. 1969. How old is that? 4 years old or so. A very special cartoon starts on a Saturday morning. And I bet y'all can guess it just by me singing, humming along. Da, 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 da. Yes, indeed, the premiere of Scooby, Dooby Doo. Where are you? Yeah, it was pretty big for me. I watched that show forever. It used to be before we had 400 channels on the TV and Nickelodeon and Disney Channel and every kind of channel you can imagine. We had like 4 channels. And so for Saturday morning, a kid back in the 60s or 70s, man, Saturday mornings were our day, getting to watch all the cartoons and everything else. So there you go. 69, Scooby-Doo. I won't talk about forever. Oh, those old meddling kids. I like Scooby-Doo. All right, let's talk about something else as we got it on. Let's see. I'm so busy talking about that. I haven't even looked y'all's comments. I need to. Let's see. Well, let me do this before I go any further. If I suddenly disappear, it's not because I'm not enjoying the company, okay? It's just because it isn't a hurricane yet. It's just Tropical Storm Nicholas that is heading our way, coming right up the coast. Man, I was a little further south of Houston today, pouring down rain, and now it's coming our way. And they said it's supposed to hit midnight or so, but we've already got all kinds of winds and flooding and everything else. So if I disappear, it probably just means the electricity went out, and I'll be back as soon as I get a chance. But just so you got a little warning to that. All right, let's see. A couple of quick questions before we go any further. Train operator Carl, what do you think about Celebrity Big Brother this winter? Yeah, did y'all hear the news? So yeah, I'm so excited to hear that. Y'all may know, I don't remember if I've ever told this before. When I got on finale night, we're all up on the stage. We've voted for the winner, and Mickey's won, and we're all just up there kind of chatting around. I grabbed Julie Chen and said, Julie, are we getting Celebrity Big Brother this winter? Do we get another one? And she said, yeah, Cliff, I think we're going to hold off a little bit. Olympics and all that, we're going to wait a little bit. It's like, okay. And then with COVID and all, we didn't get last year, but we get it this year. And I'm so excited. So do y'all have anyone that y'all really want to see on Celebrity Big Brother? There's so many folks that would surprise me. I know there's there's a few singers, and I like Neil Patrick Harris and NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. I get them all confused, but I know some of those guys. Is it Lance Bass? I think that maybe he's big into Big Brother. There's a few out there that would. Is it Rihanna as well? I think she's into Big Brother. They're big list celebrities. They may not be the ones who'd be willing to come into a house and have cameras on them 24 hours a day and all that. But how cool would it be? Yeah, I'm looking at Carl. I'm looking forward to Celebrity Big Brother. I think they said it starts in January or so. I guess I may come back and recap that as well. Although it's tough. I don't want to say too much about these big celebrities. They may come chase me down. I don't know. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, what else? Caleb Mose, would you ever compete on Survivor? Well, yeah, Caleb. All I got to do is make the call. I think I'd do okay. And because, first of all, people look at me, they're going to underestimate me a little bit. I actually am a really strong swimmer. I've got a decent amount of strength in me as well. So carrying a bunch of stuff or so many of those competitions involve the water and canoeing. I did canoe. I still canoe all the time at the lake. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things I could do with Survivor. And here's the deal. Give me 1 cup of rice a day. I'm going to be miserable, but I got a little bit more reserve that I can rely on than some of these old skinny folks that may be on that show. So yeah, I'd do Survivor. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I started watching Survivor and Big Brother. They both premiered the same year. I watched both of them, but I've always been a huge fan of Mark Burnett, who does Survivor. He did Echo Challenge before Survivor. I watched that as well. And yeah, I'd love to do it. Now, they got to call me first, but if they call, I'm there. So yeah, I'd love to do it. And I'm excited about the new season starting. It's going to be, we're just a few weeks away, a week away maybe, huh? It's pretty close. All right, so let's see. What else? Anthony. All right. Anthony's saying you were right about the gender lines at Final 6. I kind of expected that. As soon as Kylan, and I don't want to give away spoilers. So as I always say, if you don't want to see spoilers, don't read the comments over here because I'm sure there's some being posted. I'll try not to talk about them, though, if you're just listening. But I don't think it's a spoiler to say as soon as Kylan won HOH. We saw on the episode last night that he immediately put up Hannah and Tiffany, right? And I didn't, I wasn't surprised at all about that. Yeah, maybe a little bit. I kind of thought Kylan and Tiffany were starting to get a little closer with each other. They were getting a little bit closer, but maybe not from a gameplay standpoint, just in a very literal standpoint. But yeah, I'm not surprised to see a little bit of a gender divide. I expect to see that still for a little bit. I'm excited about this end game of Big Brother. They've achieved their objective. They got out all the people that weren't part of the Cookout Alliance. So now they can just play the game. And we're going to see really who has prepared themselves and positioned themselves well. I think it's Xavier. I think he's still my winner's pick. I just think y'all realize he's got 3 final 3s with only 5 other people in the house. He's got a final 3 with Azza and Derek. He's got a final 3 with Hannah and Tiffany. And he's got a final 3 with Kylan and Big D and Derek as well. So Xavier's well positioned no matter what happens. Unless someone figures out that he's going to win this thing if he gets to the final 2. And then we'll see. But I still am picking Xavier to win this thing. Mark Taylor, my Aggies almost lost. What happened? Well, I don't know. Playing in Denver at a 1 mile high altitude, maybe that's part of it. My Aggies lost their quarterback in the first series. Had to bring in a new quarterback who had a little nerves issue and all that. But thank God we had a good defense and held them to only 7 points. It was an exciting game. I love my college football, especially love my Aggie football. So we took the win. That's all that matters sometimes is you just walk out of there and say, man, I'm just glad we won the game. So yeah, that was an exciting Saturday. Julia Shepard, has Azza done anything? Has Big D done more? And could Hannah win? Well, let me go in backwards order on that one. Could Hannah win? Yeah, I think Hannah's done a pretty good job. I mean, she's won what, one or two competitions. She hadn't won a whole lot, but in terms of just being behind the scenes and talking to a lot of people and manipulating them and doing some things like that, I feel like she's just one of those that's worked underneath the radar and done a bunch of whispering when she needs to. And I think Hannah, she's not the biggest threat that people look at. So I could almost maybe see her getting to a final two. And once she gets there, I think she could do a decent job of arguing her case. The problem is with her and Tiffany both on the block, if one of them goes home, then the guys are outnumbering the women. And I could easily see the guys just continuing that steamroll. Unless Hannah won an HOH and flipped it back the other way. So I think she can win it. And if she gets to the final two and she wins it, I got no problem with it. She deserves the win. Now, as far as Azah and Big D, they haven't done as much as I was hoping they would do, right? I mean, they've kind of just been there. Big D's talking about how he created the Cookout Alliance. He came up with the idea of have all these little side people. Not so much. Derek came up with the name, the Cookout. I remember him talking about that. I think it was to Kylan or Xavier. I don't remember which one. He came up with the name. I think Tiffany came up with the rest of it. Big D, I sympathize with him. Big D is a little bit like Nicole Anthony in my season. And you wouldn't think that looking at the two of them, right? But I feel very similar in some ways in that everyone liked Nicole, but she just was so desperate for a win. She was feeling so bad that she hadn't won anything. Well, when it came down to final five for ours, she won the BB Comics, which was so incredibly cool. Before that, she won the HOH at final six. So suddenly Nicole turned it on at the end, and everything felt better to her. But she was so desperate for that first victory, and I feel like Big D's the same way. I heard him say at one point, said, there's not going to be any random competitions from now on. It's all going to be mental or physical, and how am I going to handle those? Well, if you're counting on the random competitions as your only chance of winning, that's probably not a good sign, Big D. But I kind of hope he gets a victory, just not because I think it'll make a difference, but just because I want him to have that little golden moment, that shine just a little bit before that. How excited would he be if he won an HOH? Not just because he would have the power. Who knows what he would do with that power? But just because he'd have something that he could hang his hat on beyond just the fact that, well, I did a really good job cleaning the house while I was inside the Big Brother house back in 2021. I hope he gets a little bit more than that. But he and Azah both. Azah, I gotta say, Azah, I really like her mentality, her character, her ethics. Now, sometimes that's not the best thing to have when you're playing Big Brother, unfortunately. As a person, it makes you an incredible person. As a player in the house, if you aren't cutthroat enough, it can come back and bite you. And to some degree, I almost feel like Oz is too nice and too honest to do well. But now I'd like to see her win something also, just so she has that moment. I like her, and I like Derek as well. But they're both playing for second place, right? Can you see the one of them winning the entire thing if they're matched up against Kylan or Hannah or Xavier or Tiffany, any of them? I don't really see that. I think they may be the one that gets, either one of them could get drugged to the end just because everyone figures it'd be easy to beat them. Now, what if we get Azah and Big D as the final two going up against each other? Man, the jury would have a fit. They would be so upset, I think, that those two were up there and the rest of them, so many good players in the game, so many strategic players. If it was the two of them left and we saw so many amazing players sitting on the sideline, sitting in the jury house, that'd be quite the season, wouldn't it? So, yeah, I don't know. That's just my personal thoughts on that. All right, now let's see what else. Beverly, will they have a Final Four dinner for them? Probably, maybe. I'm trying to think if we had a Final Four dinner. I don't remember if we did or not, Beverly. I remember Holly cooked a really fancy Thai dinner for us that was really nice. And they gave us some extra ingredients and things like that. I almost feel like maybe at some point we had some kind of pizzas or something brought in, but I don't know. They deserve it, though. By the time you get to Final Four, they've been in that house so long. They are so ready. I mean, you want to win, but I heard Xavier talk about it. He said, man, I just wish we could do doubles every other day and be out of this house in the next week. I remember thinking the same thing. thinking, oh my God, I've been in here 80 days, 19 more days. Let's just get it over with. I'm tired of the house. I'm tired of talking to the same people over and over again. I'm tired of no privacy. I'm tired of no music. Let's just be done with it. And they're at that point as well. So yeah, if they get a little dinner or something special, I think they'll appreciate that. Paula's saying, let me see if I can find it because I can't read it on here. Let's see. Paula's saying, do you think Kylan's going to take X to the end? Xavier, I don't know, Paula. Yeah, Kylan has said that he wants to be up on the block against the strongest player who he thinks is Xavier, right? That he doesn't want to just take Big D to the end. Is he serious about that? Or is he just saying that to try to make it more likely that Xavier will watch out for Kylan as well? For most people, I would say that's a load of hooey. There's no way they're going to do that. You got to take the weakest player. And that's why I think there's a good chance that Big D could end up in that final 2 chair against either Kylan or Xavier, because surely they want to do everything possible to win that $750,000, right? Surely Kylan isn't so focused on going up against the biggest, strongest person that he would take Xavier and leave Big D behind and risk losing $750,000. Anyone else in this house, and I'd probably say, nah, there's not a chance. Kylan may be just the person that would do it. And if he wins, well, more power to you, my friend. You figured it out. You deserve it for taking the chance and all that. I just don't know that he would win against Xavier. There's too many people that are just a little perturbed at Kylan about the way he handled one-on-ones, about the way he talked to some people and all of that. I don't know. But then again, he's got Sarah Beth's vote, right? You would hope. So I don't know. It would be fun to see. That's going to be an amazing final 3 if you have Kylan and Xavier and Big D. Because you got to think Big D's not going to win either of those 2 final competitions, right? And if that's the case, then it really is going to come down to the very on finale night, Xavier and Kylan battling out. Of course, we're making a lot of assumptions to even get to that point, but that's what we're here for, right? But can you imagine that the final 2 of Xavier and Kylan, one of them wins, and then they got to decide who they want to take to the very final 2 with them. I think Xavier takes Big D every single day. Kylan, I don't know. We're gonna see. It's I'm looking forward to it. We're finally to the part where there's a gameplay going on. Joyce, do you think Hannah will go after Tiffany? Well, obviously, without giving spoilers and all of that, right? But obviously, Tiffany seems like she's the target this week, based on the way nominations occurred and everything else. And I really think Tiffany and Hannah are so tight at that point. I think it's easy to take out Hannah because she's strong enough. She's enough of a threat that people will say, well, if Tiffany's gone, let's get rid of Hannah next. Her only chance is if she can somehow get into Ozza's head and convince Ozza that these 2 big, Kylan and Xavier, they're gonna cut you as soon as they get a chance, Ozza. They're gonna send me home, and then they're gonna send you home next, and it's gonna be the 3 guys. If she can get into Ozza's head enough and maybe convince Ozza to join forces with Hannah, and then one of them wins HOH, they flip it, they send Xavier or Kylan out of the house, and now suddenly you got 2 women, 2 guys, and who knows what happens in that final 4. Then it comes down to who wins the veto. So yeah, it's possible. I think it's more likely than not that Tiffany goes and then Hannah goes, but it's certainly not a foregone conclusion at this point in time. There's a lot of games still to be played. Jenny Gagney, has anyone ever made it this far without winning anything? That's a good question. Oh, I got all kinds of stuff going on. I don't know. I was trying to think, did Victoria back in season 16, I feel so bad for Victoria. When you want to talk about someone who got drugged to the end or close to the end and is just the person who least deserved to win the whole thing, we always throw out Victoria's name, which if you make it to the final 4, final 3, I feel like you deserve a lot of credit regardless of how you played the game. But I don't remember if Victoria had won anything by the time she finally made it to the very end. I can't remember anyone else. I mean, I feel like everyone else was was somewhat deserving of the title. Oh my gosh. All kinds of people trying to get a hold of me. That's what I get for not silencing my phone. All right. It's live. None of this is pre-recorded, right? We're all live sitting here talking. So I don't know. Victoria would be my first guess of who maybe made it this far without winning. But to have two people like that, it's just been a special kind of season, right? Hey, I'll give it to them. To not win anything and be where they are tells you that maybe you got a pretty good social game. There's something to be said for that as well. Again, if you make it this far, however you make it, you deserve a little bit of credit. Sometimes a little luck too. There's a lot of luck in Big Brother, but little gameplay also. All right, Jelly Crossing. Did you submit a video or go to open call? And how was your audition process? Well, mine was a little different. I never submitted a video. I never submitted an application. I went to an open casting call that they had here in Houston. Haley Broker from the season before was here in Houston. She had posted on Twitter, I think, that there was an open call. I just happened to see it. My wife and I went down and we saw the people standing in line. I originally planned just to watch the people. But then when I got there, I thought, well, if I'm going to sit here and watch everyone, why not get in line and actually talk to them? And I was the very last person in line, or last group in line, waited a couple hours, and we were planning to go to the rodeo and the barbecue cook-off later that night. So I already had my hat on and my cowboy wear and all of that. And of course, I always wear my boots, and it doesn't matter. Any day of the week, I pretty much look the way I do. But especially on that day, I was dressed to the nines. Didn't have anything prepared. I just went in there and started talking. And just like inside the house itself, there was a group of 5 or 6 younger people, people in their 20s, and me. And I just talked. I had nothing to lose. And I told a few stories. It was quick. I just told a few stories. I laughed at some jokes. I laughed at some other people's comments. And next thing you know, I'm getting called a little bit later. And then I had to fill out an application and everything that goes through the audition process. Some I can't talk about, some I can. But no, next thing you know, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm getting ready to go on Big Brother. But no, I never sent in a video. So a lot of people do, and I've always heard, and I believe they look at both the videos and the casting calls. But yeah, I just showed up at an open casting call. All right, Shyla Zumstein. So I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I'm sorry. They should do a Survivor season of all Big Brother alumni and a Big Brother season of all Survivor alum. How cool would that be? Oh my gosh. It would be a very interesting experience to see how the two shows, how they handle each other, because we've had some crossovers. We had Caleb, Beast Mode Cowboy, who went over and played Survivor. We've had, have we had any Survivor people play Big Brother? Maybe not. Maybe it's only gone one direction. Yeah, I'd be curious to see, because they're both kind of cutthroat shows and all of that. And we've seen people like the challenge. We've seen different people go into that from Survivor and from Big Brother. But yeah, I'd be curious to see the idea with Survivor, where you don't start off with 16 people who are voting each other out. You've got these 2 tribes. You have to build alliances within the tribes, but then you have to kind of watch out for each other, because there'll be a merge at some point. It's just a slightly different game between the two. And the other difference, Big Brother, you nominate 2 people. Once it comes time for the vote, there's only 2 people you can cast a vote for, A or B. Whereas Survivor, that final night, it's a free-for-all. Anyone can vote for anyone within that tribe. So you have a little more or a little less certainty on the Survivor game as opposed to Big Brother. It's a little less structured sometimes, it seems like. Yeah, I would absolutely love to see that. Of course, for selfish reasons, I'd love to be one of the BB alums over playing Survivor. But even if that wasn't the case, I would watch it. I'd have so much fun watching that. That would be an amazing season, just to watch some of my friends and everything playing over on Survivor. Nathan's saying, who do you want to win Big Brother? Yeah, Nathan, I don't know. At this point, I've thought about that. And I can tell you, as I said before, I can tell you who I think is going to win. And I think Xavier is probably the favorite at this point in time. But who do I want to win? I don't really care. I just want someone to win who deserves it. When I was on my season, I said, even if someone does me dirty, I'm not going to be a bitter juror. I am going to vote for the person I think did the best job playing the game and deserves that win. And that's how I voted. Even though I was a little chapped at Mickey for what he did to me at the end, he played the better game in my opinion. So I voted for him. I wasn't a bitter juror. And I would be the same way right now. I would, let's say it's Tiffany and Xavier at the end. They both deserve it. I absolutely would be happy with either one of them winning it. Again, if you get down to Ozza and Big D in the final two chairs, I don't know. Maybe I'll say this. Maybe I'm not necessarily cheering for them to win just because I don't think they've put as much into it as the other four in that house. So they're probably not who I'm cheering for to get to the very end. But if they make it, then that's probably because they won a few comps at the end and turned it on right when they needed to. So whoever wins, I'm going to be happy with. But yeah, maybe I'm going for the other four more so in terms of who I'm cheering with. That's probably about the best answer I can give you right now. Robin Worthy, do you think Kyland is not really managing the jury? He's tried to. He's done some of these goodbye messages where he has tried to give some little hints about the Cookout Alliance, and I felt like he kind of knew that he needed to be managing the jury, but Kyland is, I don't know. I just feel sometimes like he's a little, trying to think of the word, he's a little condescending is too strong a word. He's maybe a little too confident at times, and it comes across in the way he talks to people. And I think as a result, and he also is one of some people, when they win HOH, the power goes to their head just a little bit. And I feel like Kyland's one of those. I mean, we all have our good parts of our game, our lesser parts on. I just think Kyland sometimes maybe rub people a little bit wrong during some of his HOHs. So yeah, I don't know from a jury management point that he has handled it as well as some other people. But I don't know. He still has friends over in the jury. He's got Sarah Beth. She'll help sell him to the other folks. Tiffany, I mean, she's getting, she potentially is going to get sent out the door this week to the jury house. But I still feel like she may be cheering on Kyland to some degree. So I don't know. I think there's more he could have done from a jury management standpoint, but we'll see if it's enough. All right, let's see. Noah, who do you think will get America's favorite player? Well, the odds-on favorite it's got to be Derek X, right? Every time I look at anything, everyone's talking about Derek X, and I'm okay with that. I mean, he was a recruit, right? I think he was, or if not, he'd seen very limited number of seasons, and yet he came in and I don't know why. I don't know why people suddenly kind of fell in love with Derek X. Maybe it's because it looked like he was going to go out the very first week. He won that veto. He saved himself, and he just got friendly with people. He did the Lord of the Latrines, which was just fun. He's one of those guys that he looked like he was having fun while he was in the house. He didn't take anything too seriously, but he was trying to play the game as best he could as well, and he played it pretty well. Now, he got conned a little bit by Hannah and not playing his roulette high roller when he should have, when he could have, and that may have cost him his spot. But he would have had, just because of the season that we've had, it would have been hard for him to get to this point anyway, right? But I feel like he did a pretty good job. So I think Derek X is he's got to be the odds-on favorite to win America's favorite. I was thinking about that as well. I was thinking about Big Brother All-Stars. And I don't think we'll have another All-Star season for a long time. We had it last season. It could be 7, 8, 9 years, somewhere down the road before we have it again. But if we had another All-Star season, I was trying to think who in this cast would I really like to see come back. And there's two people that kind of jump out that I can easily see coming back. One is Derek X. I think people would love to see him get another chance to play the game. And the other one is Travis. Nah, I'm just kidding. I think it's Travis. No, the other one I think is Tiffany. Tiffany's played a strategic game. She overstepped a little bit. She played a little too hard. Some of these conversations where she's trying to flip the house, I think maybe didn't help her so much. But Tiffany was a heck of a strategist. I'd love to see her come back as an all-star as well. So Tiffany and Derek X are kind of my two picks of who I could easily see getting brought back at some point in the future. Doesn't mean that'd be all, but those are kind of the two leading candidates, I think, when it comes down to a final two. Do y'all feel the same way, or do y'all think there's some other folks that would maybe get more attention? And don't say Big D, and don't say Oz. I love them, but I don't think they're coming back as all-stars, regardless of where they place. All right, let's see. Hippie Chick. Does the HOH memorize the nomination speech, and does the veto holder have to memorize the veto ceremony speech? Well, not so much. Let's just call that some creative editing. Basically, as I recall, sometimes in the veto ceremony, you actually would have something that you'd read, sometimes not. But we don't see people in the house, but sometimes we get the voice of God coming over the loudspeaker, right? So those ceremonies, typically, you kind of repeat the lines as the speaker's reading them to you. So, as HOH, it is my duty to nominate 2 house guests for elimination. And then you repeat the thing, and you may have to repeat it a couple of times without getting there's 0 chance in the world I'm going to actually name any names to this, but I will say this. There are 1 or 2 people who took one take and did very well and actually could memorize a line and all that. There's a couple of people in my season who took a lot of takes and didn't seem capable of remembering more than 3 or 4 words at a time. I don't know. They probably should never get married, because they probably won't be able to remember the verses enough to say I do. That may 2 words combined may be a little tough. There were a couple of people that had some issues with it, and again, there's 0 chance I'll ever name names. But yeah, you kind of repeat lines, and then they edit it all together at the end. So I don't think I'm giving away too much. It's a big deal. So yeah, that's how that works with regards to those speeches. Now the speeches. You do your little set thing that y'all see the same things every day, and then you turn the key. Beyond that, the actual speeches, they say, talk however you want, talk as long as you want, talk as short as you want. We have 0 to say on that cliff. You just say what you want to say. Mine were always pretty short. Apparently, Kylan's nomination speech, maybe not so short. During the live feeds, Big D said something about, well, Kylan, I liked what you said in your speech, but you kind of took a long time to say it, a little bit long, Kylan. So you can talk as short or as long as you want on those speeches. I always thought it was good to speak kind of quick, because I figured if I only talk for 15 seconds, they've got to show that on TV, right? If I talk for 3 or 4 minutes, they can pick and choose which parts they maybe want to show on TV or not. So the shorter was the better in terms of me getting my message across and everything. I felt some people do it differently. All right, let's see what else we have. Beverly, does everyone in jury get sent their game outfits, or just the final 3 or 4? Beverly, everyone gets a little memento box, a memorabilia box that has a lot of your costumes in it, your house key, your just whatever you may have accumulated throughout the season. And we all get a cast photo that's been signed by everyone. There's a guy who does a t-shirt with everyone's characters on it, cartoons and all. There's some cool stuff we get. And so we all get that, whether you go out first or you go out last. But certainly, for example, in fact, funny you should mention that. The longer you're in the house, the more competitions you play in, the more costumes you get. So we probably get more if you're final 3 or 4, which, in honor of Saturday being BB Comics, one of my all-time favorite competitions, I just happened to bring my BB Comics outfit. I was going to wear it, and then I discovered something a little bit funny. If you notice, I'm Harry Potter. How are y'all doing? My cloak of invisibility. Yeah, if you'll notice, I had a green BB Comics outfit, which doesn't do so well with my green screen that I've got here behind me. No, that's not a real groundhog behind me. That's from my BB comic, the groundhog. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's my background, as Gail's pointing out, the groundhog, which was kind of cool. But yeah, so I've got them as background. But yeah, a green screen doesn't work so well with the green outfit. So there's my BB comic that they sent me. I guess you can see the back with the cape, right? It looked a lot cooler in person. But yeah, so I was going to show that. I was going to wear it. I actually turned on the cameras, got ready to do my show, and all of a sudden realized that I was just a floating head, floating all over the screen because you couldn't see anything from the neck down. But yeah, so that's one of the costumes that I got. It's probably my favorite costume, but I got a few others. Do y'all remember us having to chase sheep all over the backyard? I've got those coveralls that I wore for that. I've got the Battleback shirt, which that from when I fought my way back into the house. I've got this little cheesy campground vest that I had to wear when I went through that dark maze to actually win my way back into the house. So yeah, they sent us all the costumes, which was kind of neat. I really enjoy that. I need to put it all into some kind of shadow box or something. Right now, I've just got it in a big old cardboard box. I need to do something with it, but not enough hours in that day. Maybe after I get through doing recaps of the every morning of Big Brother, maybe afterwards I'll do that. All right, Anna Young, do you watch the challenge? Well, yeah, of course I do, Anna. It's reality TV, right? I should say I watch a lot of reality TV. It's about the only things I watch. Well, I said I watch The Walking Dead, although I don't like it as much as I used to. But there's some dramas I watch, but mainly I watch reality TV, be it Hell's Kitchen, The Challenge, The Bachelor. I watch all of them. But yeah, I watch The Challenge. Here's what's kind of cool about The Challenge. First of all, there's a lot of Big Brother players on there, which gives me some extra people to cheer for. I cheer for them just a little bit more. But y'all remember I talked about going to the Big Brother boxing event they had in Texas and Arlington a few weeks. It's been about a month ago, I guess now. It was cool because not only were a lot of Big Brother people there, but there were a lot of challenge people there as well. I've got a picture with Big T. I talked to her for a little bit. I just love talking to Big T. She was a lot of fun. Nani was there. Nani and Casey were hanging out. I think Corey was there, and Nelson was there. Tori was there. I think Tori was there. Amber was there. There were a lot and of course, Josh and Fessy and the Big Brother players who also were on the challenge itself. So it was cool sitting there hanging with some of them and talking the show and all of that. So yeah, I absolutely watched the challenge. I did not do a recap on it this year because I just too busy between work and Big Brother. I did it last season for the challenge. Maybe I'll do it again somewhere down the road, but yeah, I didn't do it. But I love the challenge. I think next episode, without giving away any insider information, y'all probably already know, but I think it's going to be a little exciting for some of our Big Brother players. All right, Beverly Tills, a silly question. There's no silly questions inside this show. Is there a fan in the bathroom? All right, well, maybe there's some silly questions. I don't think so, Beverly. I don't remember a switch ever being there for a fan. And it probably has something to do with microphones and sound and all of that. Yeah, I don't think so. If I recall, pretty high ceilings. I don't think there were fans that we could turn on or off in any room, including the bathroom. That could be wrong, but I don't think so, either in the HOH bathroom or the regular bathroom. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if y'all remember my season, but HOH would always get these little Snapchat goggles or something that we could walk around and film some stuff. And when it was my turn, instead of just filming the house guests, I figured, y'all seen us on TV 24 hours a day. You probably don't want to see more of us. I tried to film the ceilings. I went in, I filmed the entire bathroom so you could see the shelf on the side, which had a bunch of toilet paper stacked. And I tried to show y'all all the things that you don't normally see on Big Brother. And I'm not sure they actually released that. They probably say, no, Cliff, there's a reason we don't show that. Why are you just wasting your opportunity? Whateve. Yeah, y'all seen enough of us. But yeah, I actually went in with my Snapchat goggles and tried to film everything in the bathroom just so y'all could see. But yeah, I don't remember that there was a fan in there. Could be. No, I guess I just never paid attention to it. May not be a bad idea, but yeah, I don't think there was a fan in the kitchen. All right, there definitely was a camera though, right? Did y'all know that? There was a camera in both the HOH bathroom and the downstairs bathroom. We were told that as long as you're not in there with someone else talking game, that we won't turn it on. If you go in there because you think it's a private spot and you start talking game, then that camera's getting turned on. But otherwise, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about the cameras. Now, your microphone's still turned on. So, you may want to keep that in mind when you're making a little pit stop here and there. But I always pictured in the control room, do you know how much I would give? Well, I wouldn't give a whole lot, but how much I would love to be able to go over to the sound stage or to where the Big Brother house is and just get a behind the scenes tour and see how they control everything, all the monitors and all the areas behind those glasses that we never get to see. I asked about it when I got out of there, and they basically said, yeah, no, you're not seeing any of that. All right, that was worth asking, but I'd love to see. I picture just a big red button that says like bathroom camera with a big plastic box around it that you have to break the seal before you hit it or something. I hope it's something like that. I hope it's not just some little production guy can just say, I wonder what they're doing over there in the bathroom. Hit the button whenever he feels like it. I kind of doubt it, but they could, and I'd never know about it either. So whatever. If they want to watch, I guess watch. It wouldn't faze me too much. You can't go with a lot of expectations of privacy inside that house, right? All right, S Moss saying, thank goodness you didn't have Kylan when you were in the house. He never stops talking. Yeah, well, I've been accused of being a little long-winded. Oh, I don't know. Maybe mine was I talked too loud, right? I was overheard and all that. Put Kylan in the house with me, and I'll talk loud. He'll talk forever, and no one else will get a word in edgewise. Yeah, Kylan, he loves that information, right? Even when he knows exactly what he's going to do, when he's already made his decision, he still is pulling people in and going for hours and hours on end. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He's just on and on and on. But everyone plays the game differently. And he's talked about that he wants to have every possible scenario in his head. He uses those chess pieces. He's obviously a fairly logical guy that he can handle so much information. I almost feel like sometimes you can get information overload in that house. So I know from my standpoint, it's easy to get too paranoid if you start getting too many people throwing out too many different scenarios. And the next thing you know, you're focusing on one little mention that someone made that may have nothing to do with real relevancy to the game. But you think about that, and it just kind of craters your whole gameplay. So, yeah, Kylan's a little bit long-winded, right? But that's okay. But that's the beauty about Big Brother. You get 16 people, all with different characteristics, all different ways of playing the game. And think about it. If I'm in that house and Kylan's talking like that and he's HOH, then I'm going to do just like everyone else has done. I'm going to say, yeah, Kylan, yeah, let me tell you. I'd like to think I could kind of work my way through and maybe not have him quite as demanding in terms of some of the information he's wanted. But when you got the power, you kind of have to kiss the ring, right? And so we've seen some of that. All right, Lisa Kruger, excited to see the cookout really play instead of throwing things or doing things they really don't want to do. And Xavier just throwing things or just couldn't win. I think he's thrown a decent number of competitions. Now, I think it's easy just to say, I threw them all. But I really feel like he felt like he was in a pretty good position, that he really thought that he didn't need to win those competitions. And that's the one knock I kind of have on his game, is when it comes down to if he makes it to the final two, and he's sitting there in one of those final two chairs talking to the jury, someone's going to say, what did you do? Yeah, we know you won a couple of competitions, but what did you actually do to push the cookout along? Or what did you do to get where you are? Look at Kylan. He's won 3 HOHs, and they made the hard decisions when they had to. Look at Tiffany. It was such a hard decision for her to send Claire out the door. And you, on the other hand, you didn't want to win HOH when Alyssa was on the block. You tried to back off and let other people get the blood on their hands. And if I'm going up against Xavier, first of all, I don't want to go up against Xavier because he's an attorney, and I think he's probably a very logical person. I think he's going to have a heck of a final two speech if he makes it that far. But if I was up against him, that's what I'd be calling him out for, saying, yeah, it's easy enough to ride other people's coattails, let them get the blood on their hands. You didn't take any risk. You didn't do a whole lot to get where you are other than just a comp win here or there. I still think he could win it all, but that would be the one dig I've got against him is that. And yes, I'm with you. I feel like there's too many people have been way too comfortable for the first 68 days or whatever we've been in the house. And now they got to be sweating a little bit. Now that they got to be sweating a whole lot. And every single person in that house needs to be sweating. Every single person in there needs to be thinking, if the wrong person wins HOH tomorrow, I could go home immediately. That's what I want them thinking. I want them all nervous and having a hard time sleeping because they're so worried about the next day's competitions. That's what I want to see in the Big Brother house, and that's what we haven't gotten nearly enough so far this season. But it's changing. I hate that we're finally there. It took too long, but it's changing. All right, Window Wendy. They should let fans vote for All-Stars like they did the first time. Wouldn't that be cool? Do y'all remember Survivor did that? I think it was Survivor. Wasn't it? Survivor did a deal where you got to vote on who you wanted to come back in the game. I remember Stephen Fishback from Rob Has a Podcast got voted in that way. That'd be cool. I mean, the hard thing is it's such a long season. if you go to Survivor, you could probably find 30 people and say, hey, if you get voted in, would you be willing to come back? And everyone say, yeah, sure. But if you vote me in, I'll be there. Big Brother would be a little bit tougher. The other thing too is there's not nearly as many people from the Big Brother seasons as there are Survivor, because Survivor we get 2 seasons a year. They're up to 40 or 41, something like that. Whereas Big Brother, we're only right now up to season 23. So you have a lot fewer people to pull from. And then you say, it's not just 39 days like Survivor. It's going to be 99 days for Big Brother. Well, then you have even fewer people that are willing to commit to another 99 days and spend another summer in the house. So you may not have 30 or 40 people that are willing to come into the house and that there's a lot of fan support to come in. So it may be a little tougher, Big Brother, to get in the fans to do it, as opposed to the producers just calling people behind the scenes and saying, hey, if we have a season, would you be interested in coming back? And then they make the decisions on their own. So I kind of understand why they don't. But yeah, I agree. That would be really cool. And then you'd have all these Big Brother people campaigning online on social media, and that'd be cool too. But then here's the knock on that. We already got upset last season because there was a lot of suspicion. There was some pre-gaming that went on and all of that. If you're voting for people to go into the house, well, then everyone, before they even go in the house, know who else is up for potentially going in, already knows who the favorites are, who probably will get into the house. So I almost feel like it makes the pre-gaming opportunities even greater than if the Big Brother producers just call people and pull them in. So, but yeah, I'd like to see that. All right, Beverly T, do you think the final 6 will tell them about the cookout and jury? I haven't heard them discuss it. They've talked about it once or twice, saying, why do we tell them? Do we tell them everything? Do we say that this was this bigger mission, this bigger goal? Or do we just say it was just an alliance and let them kind of read between the lines? I don't know. I think the jury's going to figure it out already. Claire is over there in jury. She heard Tiffany tell her, say, I can't put any of them on the block. I just can't do it. So Tiffany understands, even though she didn't hear the term cookout alliance, she knows that they were aligned together. And that, combined with, I think, Brittany and Derek X probably comparing notes for a long period of time in the house, they're going to put 2 and 2 together and probably ask the first Cookout Alliance member or 2 comes in the house. They're probably going to say, hey, give us some spill the tea on exactly what was going on. And I think even if the Cookout Alliance members, as they make jury, don't officially say, yes, we had this mission, we wanted an African-American to make it to the end, even if they aren't quite as detailed and explicit, I think they'll spill enough bits and pieces that the jury is just going to continue to put 2 and 2 together and figure it all out. I expect that to be the case. But then again, I thought they would have figured it out before they even got booted out of the house. And for the most part, it seems like most of them did not. So yeah, they may not know until finale night. And if it comes finale night and then suddenly it's revealed and Alyssa says, oh my gosh, wow, I never thought of that. I'm going to be a little shocked, but not completely shocked. All right, Mark saying, this season, haven't heard as many, please switch your microphones. Is that true? I don't know. I'm trying to think about it now. I guess I haven't heard as many as well. I actually haven't heard as many no singings, or you're not allowed to talk about production or any of that. And I don't know, is it because they're quicker shutting down the live feed so we don't actually hear the microphones, or we don't actually hear Big Brother when they come over the speakers, or they're just doing a better job of it? I don't know. I'll give y'all a little bit of a, let me talk, we've got 10 minutes. Let me throw in a few little scoops here for you. Y'all know, after you get kidnapped from your house, you get taken over there. You have to hang out in a sequester spot for a while before you actually go into the house. Well, for the most part, you're just stuck alone in a room, but you do have a few times where you go, they take all your media pictures and they do the media interviews and things like that. They get you set up. They look through all your clothes and see what you can bring into the house, what you can't, because it's got logos, things like that. But they also spend a little time telling you how to do the microphones, how you switch it out. They always say you need to take your take your thumb on your chin, bring your hand down, and where your little finger hits right about your sternum is where your microphone should be. And this is where you wear your battery. They do all kinds of things about changing out the batteries, how you do it, all just the little technical details. But the guy who was helping me get set up on that, he told me, he said, now look, just so you know, Cliff, there's a direct correlation between how well you do in the game and how well you do in terms of keeping your microphone on, switching your batteries out when you need to in the morning, and following the rules of Big Brother. And he told me, he said, everyone who has ever won Big Brother did a good job with the microphones, except for Josh. He said, Josh is the one winner who we just constantly had to get after about, you need to change out your microphone. You need to switch batteries. You need to put on your microphone. He said he didn't really do that well listening to the rules on the microphones. He said, but other than that, everyone who wins does well with their microphone. So I kept that in mind. I always did a pretty good job, I think, with my mics for the most part. So there you go. A little bit of an inside scoop. All right, I'm going to give y'all another little inside scoop before I get back to the questions. And we just have a few minutes. But BB Comics, such a fun event. But I've been asked on my morning show, a few YouTube comments and things like that, about how you handle veto competitions when you're timed one at a time, as opposed to everyone getting out there and competing together. So here's how it works. Before the veto competition, if there's more than 6 people, you draw, as we see, the veto selection to figure out who's playing in veto. But then after that, if it's a timed event where one person at a time goes, what you don't see on TV is they come out with the HOH comes out with a velvet blue bag, if I remember, that's got the chips of everyone who's competing in it. Or no, it's not. It's numbers. And you go around the room, everyone who's competing draws a number. And say, all right, who's got number 1? Oh, Nicole's got number 1. All right, Nicole, you're going to be in the back bedroom, and you're going first. Who's got number 2? Cliff, you're number 2. You're going to be in the boat room. You'll be going second of the competition. So it's all random draw, and we're each kept separated from each other in different rooms because they don't want us talking to each other, working out strategies, anything like that. They sure don't want us after we come in from a competition saying, oh, I did really well, or oh, you be prepared because this is the answer to this one. They don't want any of that. So we're kept completely isolated throughout the entire competition. And it's purely random, the order you go in and what room you hang out in. For some reason, I always got assigned to the boat room. Almost every single time I did a veto competition of that sort, which was kind of my favorite room already. So that was cool. But with the BB Comics in particular, we thought maybe it was about time for BB Comics, but we really didn't know. But when it came time to get our costumes, we went into the storage room expecting to see a BB comic outfit or something. No, it wasn't. It was just a regular colored t-shirt, and it had the veto symbol on the front, and that was it. It was like, oh, dang it. We thought it was going to be BB Comics. And then we went to our individual rooms. Well, when it was almost my turn to compete, I think Holly or someone went before me. I heard them call her name, Holly, come to the backyard. Then they said, Cliff, go to the diary room. So I walk into the diary room. I walk inside and I look over, and there's my Big Brother costume, my BB Comics costume with the cape and all of that, hanging on a hanger at the back of the diary room. They said, yeah, Cliff, it's BB Comics. We just didn't want y'all to know ahead of time. So go ahead and switch out into your BB Comics outfit. And so I did that. And then they said, all right, while Holly's competing, here's a little sheet of paper that lists all the rules on how you play BB Comics, that you have to, little things like you had to go down the zip line at least once before you could pull out all the comics and start setting them up on the stands. And you have to hit the button, and then they'll tell you if you're right or wrong. A lot of those little rules, but I read over the rules and I started trying to psych myself up while I was in the diary room before it was my turn to go. But yeah, so we didn't know it was BB Comics because they intentionally had us wearing a different costume until right before we went in the backyard to play the game, which is kind of cool. So just thought I'd throw that out to y'all. All right, let's see what else. Beverly, I can't wait to see if they're going to have a new Big Brother house since it's been sold. Hoping it'll be even more awesome. Yeah, I've got mixed feelings about that. That house is my house. There's a part of me that doesn't want them to move because then it's not going to feel like my house. I'm not going to feel the connection every summer if I see them in a brand new house. But I agree, it would be cool to have a whole new setup. And I look at the Big Brother Canada house. It's so incredibly awesome. I love the Big Brother Canada house. Every season, the theming and everything is so incredible there. And I feel like if they moved our house as well, you could probably do a little bit more with it. So yeah, I would be okay if they did it. I've got a sneaky suspicion, and it's just me. I have a feeling that even if they sell that CBS lot, including the Big Brother house, I have a feeling they're going to turn around. They're going to rent that back from whoever the new owner is, and probably keep the same house at least for a few more years. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I'm thinking we'll see this same house for a few more years because it's easy. It's cheap. The house is already there. Sound stage is there that's made up to look like a house. It's probably not that expensive for them to come in every season just to rip out the surface stuff. They've already got the bones, the structure, everything else. Just put new couches in, paint it a different color, put some new theme in. It's pretty cheap compared to building a whole new setup, a whole new house. But yeah, it'd be cool if they did it. It'd be different, right? All right, what else? 7:56, so fast. But that's all right. There are a few things I was going to talk about, but we'll cover them all. Cover them all next week. All right, I'm going to throw one out to y'all because I'm kind of excited. I watched college football. I watched a whole lot of the overnight feeds. I watched Kylan doing his one-on-one, so y'all wouldn't have to. Yeah, you're welcome. But I also started binge watching a new show that's on Netflix. I'll throw this out to you and get y'all's opinion. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's kind of cool so far. Manifest. Have y'all seen Manifest? I didn't realize apparently it came out like 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe I was busy trying to get on Big Brother at the time because obviously I wasn't paying attention. But Manifest has come out and it's really cool. I've watched the first few episodes from the first season, halfway through the first season, maybe. All about a plane that takes off, disappears. Suddenly it lands again 5.5 years later. And now these people can't quite figure what's going on. It's kind of a Lost type theme. You know, maybe a Lost from ABC. I get the feeling it's kind of the same type of theme and everything, but it's been pretty cool. So just a little Cliff Hogg's recommendation for the viewers. If you haven't watched Manifest on Netflix yet, so far so good. Now the later seasons may be horrible, and then you're going to say, why'd you ever suggest that? Well, I've only watched a little bit, but so far pretty cool. All right, guys, what else? Oh my gosh, 7:58, so quick. All right, I guess we'll go ahead and shut it down, and I think y'all are still out there, right? I didn't lose my electricity, so it's been a good night so far. And Lisa's saying, truly enjoy your nightly updates. Appreciate you. Well, thank you. And I absolutely appreciate all of y'all. Thank all of y'all for the support. I do appreciate it so much. And David Buchanan said, I look forward to American college football. Well, me too, David. And you say American because I know you got Canadian football up there, right? But yeah, the college football is just a different thing, and high school football down here in Texas. You think college football is big? Man, high school football, there's some high school games that have the same crowds to rival some of the college crowds. Go out to West Texas. They go crazy. It's a religion out there. So it's fun. Hey, Scooby. I saw that. And Beverly saying, I recognize your BB coming. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was so focused on doing that competition, though, I forgot that I was one of the comics there. And y'all probably don't remember, but my comic was on the very far right on the upper level of the two levels. And I started from left to right. So I went through the entire competition trying to set up all my comics. And at the very end, all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, that's me. I'm a groundhog. Okay, that's kind of cool. And I just forgotten that I was actually part of the game at that point in time. And so at the very end, I get to see my comic. And yeah, it means a lot. In addition to the costumes, they sent that comic to me as well, and it'll always be one of my more favored mementos. Doesn't mean I'm putting it up on my tombstone or anything, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll hang that. I'll hold on to that forever, and yeah, I'll probably hang it up somewhere and be pretty cool. All right, guys, 8 o'clock. We're gonna shut it down. Thank y'all. And I know I tried to get to all the comments. If I missed you, sorry about it. And hey, shoot me a DM. The other thing, I do the morning recaps every morning. And man, obviously, I guess y'all found my YouTube channel. Check out the morning recaps that I do. And I try to keep it to about 20 minutes or so. And you can ask me Big Brother questions out there as well, or just send me DMs. I'm always happy to talk about Big Brother. So guys, y'all have a fantastic evening. If you aren't already subscribed to YouTube, do it, and then you'll get your notifications. You never have to worry about missing out. And who knows? I may do some recaps of some odd and crazy reality shows on down the road. So if you're subscribed, you'll find out as soon as I start them up. All right, guys. Have a fantastic Monday. I guess I'm gonna hopefully go outside and look for rain clouds and all of that. Yeah, I'm staying indoors. But y'all have a great Monday. You have a great rest of the week. I will talk to you. I'll talk to a lot of y'all in the morning when I do my recaps. The rest of y'all, I will see y'all next Monday. And thanks again. Love all of y'all, my friends. SKD143. I love my wife. Love my kids. I love all of y'all out here. I love reality TV. Have a great week. I'll talk to y'all later. Cheers, guys.